Welcome back to Retro Rebound, detectives. I hope you have your detective cap and glasses on because we got a murder mystery on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. No, this is no April Fool's joke. Today, we're talking about the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Again, I am not playing with you. A little bit of backstory on this. So I'm on my daily walk. I like to take in the air, get the gamer grime off of me. I got a text from my friend. Yo, it's real. Because prior to all this, Sonic the Hedgehog's Twitter account suggested that something was on the way that's a dramatic shakeup for this series. And I said to my friend, cool your jets, it's an April Fool's joke, carry on. Well, they released a brand new video game, and in the height of the Sonic hype, lots of little kids getting involved, they named the game The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I can't believe it. It is a visual novel style game, and it's way better than I ever expected it to be. You see, we make very few mistakes here on Retro Rebound. I kid, by the way. But seriously, one of the biggest mistakes I made was not reviewing Sonic Frontiers here. Over this last year or so, really since the channel began, I've been on what's called the Sonic Pilgrimage, playing Adventure, playing Heroes, Unleashed, Generations, and falling in love with this series. It only made sense to cap it all off with the latest Sonic game being reviewed. That's my mistake. We'll never do that again. So a new Sonic game is out. Here we are today to talk about it and to investigate. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new here, you're into nostalgic or retrospective content, the occasional day one review, consider subscribing. So a little bit of a primer on the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a free game available on Steam right now. It's got keyboard and mouse support, no controller support, so just keep that in mind when you hop in, but it is a free game. I say that because we are on the internet and people see something and immediately go, that's bad. Just note, it is a quick download and you don't gotta pay a single penny for it. The other thing I wanna check expectations on here is the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog sounds very grim. However, this is a light, airy, and fun visual novel. If you're looking for something really dark, I'm just gonna briefly recommend Paranormasight, the 7 Mysteries of Hanjo. I've been playing that on my Switch. I have about 5 hours in it. It is fantastic. It is a gritty, horror visual novel that has scared the life out of me multiple times. Highly recommended. So if you want darkness, go over there. Today, we talk about the light and airy murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. So the backstory, what's going on here? You are a microwave specialist. Yes, you put your character's name in at the beginning of the game and you are hired to work on what's called the Mirage Train. Your specialty is to warm up food for all of the guests in attendance. And who are these guests? Of course, Sonic and all of his friends. Now, the reason they're all here is it's Amy's birthday party, and she wanted to have a murder mystery birthday. Now, where this game gets you going is that it starts off with a bit of what I define as unease. There's some Doki Doki Literature Club vibes early on. Oh, it's really light and airy and the music's happy. Are they gonna flip the switch? And they kind of do in a minor way to put you, again, in a little bit of a less certain position on how you think things are gonna go. And it does keep you guessing a little bit as it goes along. Is this gonna be a mystery that's gonna blow your mind with a lot of plot twists? No, definitely not. I don't wanna say it's highly predictable, but it's way more interesting than I expected. But certain things that you expect to happen will happen. What I will say though, because this is a highly story-based game, and we don't want to spoil that for you, is it is defined as headcanon. This is in the official game description on Steam. It is headcanon. I say all of that because there is a moment toward the end of the game, and you can call me soft, it's fine. There is a moment though toward the end of the game that I went, oh, that was kind of sad. And everyone else is having a blast, but I sat there and thought, okay, like, I felt something there. That was unexpected, and that's what makes this game a real treat. You see, 2023 has been the blessed year of shadow drops. So we got Hi-Fi Rush, and we just got that out of nowhere. Fantastic. We get Metroid Prime Remastered out of nowhere. Granted, we had a ton of rumors about Metroid Prime coming back in some way, shape, or form, but it arrives in a fantastic remaster, and it's just there day and date. And then You have the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, and that's what 2023 has really been for me, is these great surprises in between expected big AAA games. You know, we're looking forward to titles like Starfield or Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but then you get something like this that's just a nice weekend treat. They dropped it at the perfect time. It was a Friday evening, and I was sitting there just, why not? Fired it up, and it's about a 3-hour game. It's a point-and-click adventure game where you're going to go around with Tails investigating the murder of Sonic. What really this game does right is humor. I thought that this game was hilarious, from art to dialogue. It is great. Again, way better than it ever needs to be. This could have been 1 hour long and I would have been like, all right, cool, good joke, Sega. But they clearly tried with this. Not so much so, but they understand it's a free game. They're not gonna go above and beyond, but it does a really good job at making you laugh. Such as like the character design. Seeing Shadow the Hedgehog as a locksmith or Vector as a butcher, I was getting a good kick out of it. And especially the self-deprecating dialogue, because your character is notably mid and the game is very aware of that. And so like Tails is investigating what's going on here, and obviously Tails, being the absolute genius he is having a blast putting it all together, and he'll rope you into it constantly. And your character is going like, why is he pulling me into this? I don't know what I'm doing here. So I love that the main character, they don't try to make him way too important or incorporate him into some overarching universe here. It's just, your character's a mid-microwave specialist and you just happen to be here, and now you're involved in investigating what's going on during Amy's birthday party. And I find that to be one of the most fantastic parts of the game. It just made me laugh a lot. So if you're looking for some good humor, this is a great place to be. What I'll also just say is don't sleep on the art. The character designs, as I mentioned with Shadow, are funny, but what this game does well is something that only established franchises with a lot of heritage can do. So I think of something like the Ninja Turtles, right? Nowadays, the Ninja Turtles are what I'd say more neutered compared to where they used to be, especially in the comic space where it was very dark, where you kind of look at them as the more kid-friendly franchise. But it has an established identity. And when you shake that identity up, it's particularly jarring, and it can even be more gripping, even if a game is doing the same exact thing. It's because of that IP heritage, it goes so much further. So I think of something with TMNT, like the comic series The Last Ronin, where every Ninja Turtle has died except one. You're in a dystopian future. It's gritty, it's dark, it's depressing, and that works so well because the Ninja Turtles are usually a little bit more uplifting nowadays. So kind of the same thing here with Sonic. Sure, we had Baldy McNose hair during Sonic Colors. I get it. We've had bad written Sonic games. But when you look at something like Frontiers, which, depending on who you ask, I thought the story was a success. I thought it evoked a sense of emotion. You could see the effort there. And I thought it was the best modern Sonic game we've got in a while. But it definitely took itself very seriously. And Sonic games have a tendency to do that for the most part. You think of something like Unleashed, you think of Adventure. These games do take themselves seriously, even though some fans may not. So when you get a game like this, where you see Tails in a detective outfit, you see Amy with a birthday cake hat, or the outfits I described for Shadow and Vector, you see Espio with a poet outfit on. I just love that type of stuff because you got to know these characters in one way, and in this non-canon way, Sega's playing around with them, as they should. You know, I look at what Sega's doing here, and I think it's so fun. I look at something like Capcom with Mega Man, and we'll talk about Mega Man soon. I love Mega Man, but I hate that it's so dormant overall. Right now, we're getting a good amount of remaster collections. We got the Zero Remaster Collection. That was new to me. I missed out on that. The one I didn't miss out on that we're getting soon is the Battle Network Collection. We'll review that here, fret not. But I love that Sega's not afraid to play around with Sonic. Like, to, again, take a series at the height of its hype, I'd say, at the height of its popularity, and make something like this when it's kind of kid-friendly, even though the game itself is kid-friendly, the name may not suggest that, I think is bold and fun, and it keeps this series and its fans on its toes, where you just don't know what to expect. And I do wish more companies with more established IP would do that type of thing. We don't always need the big AAA blockbuster. Sometimes a fun, quirky 3-hour visual novel will do that. So I really like the approach they've taken here, attitude-wise, with the franchise. So as you're going around and investigating all of these different carts in the train, it's a point-and-click adventure game. You're going to analyze all of these pieces of evidence. You're going to get a bit of an inventory. You can take a closer look at things, and you'll actually have to mentally invest yourself, a little bit at least, to piece together the mystery. There's no real failing in this game, so don't worry. You're always making forward progress. It's never frustrating. I think of the trials in Danganronpa, especially Danganronpa 2 in my experience, where I just wanted to pull my hair out. I'm thinking of you, Trial 4. But here, it's just a fun time that's not trying to waste your time. Now, what is going to happen is you're going to find evidence, and each of these characters from the Sonic cast are locked in specific train carts, and you'll have to interrogate them to get info out of them to piece together the mystery as to who killed Sonic. And so as you're interrogating them, you have to think, what would Sonic do? I kid you not, that's actually the term in this game. What would Sonic do? And so you bring up your own Game Gear, yes, and you have this infinite runner kind of level, like a mobile game, which the game is very self-aware and jokes about that too, where you're running around and collecting rings. And the music is actually surprisingly good. None of the tracks here are gonna blow your mind. There's one that stuck out to me that I thought, oh, this is actually really good. But the music here is fun. And these runner sections start off as simplistic, but as you get deeper to the game, and by the point of the, I can't believe I'm saying this word, end game, it's a 3-hour game, but once you get to some of the final runner segments, it is really challenging, and I liked that. It was a surprise twist to the overall expectations I had for the game. But it doesn't go beyond that. You're just gonna go from cart to cart, talk a lot as you would in a visual novel, interrogate, do the runner segments, and then move along to the next cart. There's lots of dialogue options. There's one in particular where you're with Blaze and I think it was Rouge that I thought was really nice, where you just had 1,000,001 dialogue options at once. The game's just got a great sense of humor, and it's playing around at the right time of year. You know, it's a quick 3-hour game, April Fool's Day, but this game is no joke. It's actually a pretty good time, and I just want to talk about it because I couldn't believe it was real. I just, again, go back to me sitting there thinking, you know, this tweet that they're putting out there, no, don't worry about it, friend. This is not going to be anything at all, and it actually turns out it is. It was great to see, and I, again, just cannot help but commend Sega for how they're playing around with the franchise. We've already heard that after Sonic Frontier's success, they're going to be putting more of a budget into the Sonic franchise, but this was a good time. And I do recommend, if you haven't checked it out and you got a couple hours this weekend, go for it. Do you need to shelf other games to check it out? No, it's not going to blow your socks off, but it's a fun experience that I think once you finish it, you'll go, I'm glad I played that, and that was way better than I expected. And that's all it needs to accomplish. It's a free game, and you don't gotta think much about it at all. You could skip it and watch a Let's Play too, I guess, but you're not really there for the story. It's just the character interactions. And again, the art goes hard. Like, there are scenes in this game, drawings in this game that kind of evoke a bit of the IDW comic style, and I like that a lot. I've only just started reading the IDW comics for Sonic because I have heard they're really good, and I've been enjoying them thus far. I'm not super deep. I got those big collection books, and I only have the first one, so I'm just slowly getting through that. I've been on a bit of a comic grind because I'm doing that and rereading The Last Ronin, but to my original point, the art style in this game evokes some of that IDW comic, especially with the filter that they have on screen. It is very comic booky, but I like it, especially as a visual novel fan. I love Danganronpa, I love Zero Escape. I think you'll enjoy this one, and it did make me think, you know, they could do more with this kind of formula. Would it sell well? I don't know. I mean, it's Sonic, so maybe. But that's what I think big IP should do. Okay, you have this big thing that is known for 3D platforming. You can do a ton of other things with it. Like, I hope they go back and try to make turn-based RPGs like they did with BioWare at one point with the Dark Brotherhood, which we talked about here, and I don't know if we'll talk about it again. I knew wasn't that great of an adventure, but ladies and gentlemen, I've rambled enough. This is just a fun game. I wanted to talk about it, get my detective fit on for y'all, and just share some thoughts. So have you played The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog? Go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out.